Pompey fans have topped a new Premiership League of Shame.
You fucking let him all that! All of you!
Police investigating football violence have arrested 5 men from Portsmouth.
Caught on CCTV throwing stones at officers.
Fucking scummers! You can see me walk through unopposed through their city.
Top of the league for arrests at football matches. One of the most notorious football firms in Britain and the country's youngest hooligan. Portsmouth is one of Britain's toughest towns.
Go on, go on.
The historic naval city of Portsmouth, the most densely populated city in Britain. Home to 180,000 people who are crammed into row upon row of terraced houses on an island just 15 miles square. With a rich history of naval conflict and its dockyard roots, the people of Portsmouth are fiercely proud of their island.
I think the fact is that Pompey, Portsmouth, has been spoiling for a fight since the 15th century. You're talking about a city that grew up around a dockyard. You're talking about a city that's been dedicated to the export of serious violence.
In the 1930s, Portsmouth had the most productive dockyard industry in Britain. It was a breeding ground for proud, tough working-class men. The success of the dockyards were mirrored by the achievements of the city's football team, which won the old First Division title and the FA Cup before the Second World War.
People are very, very proud. You're always looking for a way of expressing that pride, and the best way of expressing it is to back the football team. And that's why the away support and the home support is phenomenal.
By the late 70s, the dockyards were in decline, and the once successful football team was languishing in the Third Division. But the support for the club was still strong, and a hardcore group of fans developed into one of the most feared football hooligan firms in Britain.
We're still football fans, but we've got another side to us. If someone starts on you, then first of all you're going to defend yourself, and that's what we did.
In this programme, we follow Portsmouth's notorious hooligan firm at the biggest game of the season.
I would imagine we'll get this all the way to the ground now. See whether they make a show or not.
And we look at the emergence of a new wave of younger hooligans following the club.
You don't have to be the hardest person, as long as you know that when you're running in, you've got your mates behind you running in with you, it don't matter.
Portsmouth is the only city in Britain on an island of its own. Its residents have developed a strong community spirit and an island mentality that means that they are very wary of outsiders.
These are people who have a deep-seated hostility to anyone who's foreign. That's not just the French, that's people from Havant, and Havant is 7 miles away.
Nowhere is hostility shown to outsiders more openly than at football. Since the late 70s, Portsmouth has had a large number of hardcore supporters that have caused havoc on away trips and made their home ground of Fratton Park the most intimidating ground in Britain. Eddie Crispin was a member of the hardcore group of fans that became known as the 657 crew.
We started going as a group sort of when we left school in the late 70s. And then Purcell brought out the cheap rail travel. So everyone started going on the trains, I think about 82, 83, something like that.
But this is Portsmouth South Sea Station. This is the meeting point for away game trips 20 years ago, at the height of the 657.
Rob Sylvester was another member of the original 657 crew.
Obviously the name, the 657, comes from, that was the first train you could get to London, or the earliest train you could get to London, so you could carry on the journey up north to do what you've got to do up there.
Occasionally you could have 3 or 4 rows with different firms at an away game. You'd pull up in London in the morning, bump into someone, pull up where you're going, bump into someone, back in London at night, and then back at Waterloo you might bump into Millwall or something later at night. So we played Newcastle away, and came straight off the station and went straight into these two pubs, and it just kicked off straight away. On the way back, we were on the train, we were talking away, and suddenly the train pulled in at Doncaster. Everyone, here they are. Looked out the window, and the whole of the platform was full up with Chelsea. Straight off the train, straight into them, run them off the station. That was a bit of a mad day.
They became so notorious for causing trouble, they were banned from most football stadiums in the country. So the crew had to come up with innovative ways to get into the heavily policed away grounds.
We went to Cardiff once, and we knew the police would be waiting at the station, so what we did, we had some wedding invitations made up, and everyone went in blazers and trousers and a shirt and tie.
All Farrah slacks and blazers and aqua scoot and ties.
When the police pulled them at Cardiff, so you guys going to football, do we look like we're going to football? You know, we're here for a wedding, mate, you know? Oh, sorry lads, carry on.
Took them a couple of minutes, they sort of sussed out that we weren't there for the wedding.
Before they realised they were letting the 657 crew slip through their grass, you know?
That's them in the ground. Typical Pompey, that going to places and, you know, you knew that there was a fair chance you would sort of get your nose smashed in, but that was the buzz about it, you know.
The 657 were able to establish themselves as one of the top 5 hooligan firms in the country, thanks to their liberal attitude towards violence.
Football violence is bad, but, you know, where does it come up on the list? You know, it's not as bad as terrorism, drug dealing, you know, see, there's a lot worse things than being a football violence. You know, I know who I'd rather live next door to me.
But for the 657 crew, the days of terrace battles with rival firms are gone.
And basically, if I didn't go to football, I wouldn't have any dealings with the police at all. But every Saturday now, you go to football, you walk in a pub, you get a camera shoved in your face.
All Cedar stadiums and CCTV have meant that incidents of violence inside football grounds are now rare. But football hooliganism hasn't gone away. In recent seasons, arrests for serious football-related violence have nearly doubled. The National Criminal Intelligence Service reported the problem has been pushed away from the terraces to outside the stadium, where it is better organised and more violent. In 2004, Portsmouth FC had the worst record for football hooliganism in Britain.
Pompey fans have topped a new Premiership League of Shame. Figures out on total arrests per club show 146 Portsmouth supporters were picked up last season.
Well, it's nice to see Pompey top of one league anyway.
The reason Portsmouth topped the league table of arrests is largely down to their bitter rivalry for just one club, their South Coast neighbours, Southampton. It is believed that the bitter rivalry between the two cities dates back to the 1930s, but it started on the dockyards rather than the football terraces. The Portsmouth dockers went on strike over low pay, so the yard owners brought in merchant dockers from Southampton to break the picket lines.
The Portsmouth dockers went on strike. It's a community, it's obviously a community suffered. Now, the hardships families go through in the strikes in the old days, you know, things like that are never forgotten.
From then on, people from Southampton have been known as Scum, an acronym for the Southampton Dockers who broke the 1930s strike. Although the rivalry is fierce, over the years, the two clubs have often been in different divisions and have rarely played each other. But in 2003, Portsmouth won promotion to the Premiership and were guaranteed to meet their South Coast rivals. Southampton's visit to Fratton Park in March 2004 was their first for 20 years. Police deployed 400 officers, the most ever for a Premiership game.
We knew that it was going to be a big police operation. We knew that they'd be out there waiting for us. So it was quite a tension-charged atmosphere.
Everyone met up and they knew what time the scummers were going to arrive at Pompey. All turned out, the police turned out.
Portsmouth won the match 1-0. But the fans wanted to beat their rivals off the pitch as well.
I mean, at the end of the game, Pompey had won anyway, but there was, as in the old days, you used to get mobs waiting here, baiting the away supporters, because you could look up to them in that section of the ground there.
We were held in for about 30 minutes, then they took us up into a road and we were held in a side road for, again, about another 20 minutes probably.
And the police and the stewards, I mean, not as if they were holding them back. They didn't want to come out, but they were trying to disperse of the mob here, which was probably up to about 1,000 upwards.
It was clear then that something a lot more sinister was going on.
It was only the heavy police presence that ensured the Southampton supporters were escorted away safely. But the Portsmouth fans weren't finished, and they continued to throw stones and rubble at the police well into the night. It turned into the worst rioting ever at a Premiership game.
March the 21st and the streets around Fratton Park are turned into a battleground. 400 police officers are deployed, a tenth of the force.
The police used high-tech video evidence to identify the rioters, and 3 months after the game, they'd arrested 93 people and given out 70 banning orders. Portsmouth's hooligan following was blamed for the riots, but it wasn't the older 657 crew throwing stones and bricks at the police. Most of the rioters arrested were under 25. They included two of the youngest ever to be convicted of football hooliganism, a girl of 14 and a boy of 10.
This game probably go down to be the biggest nicking of one game ever. I mean, by the time he finished, they'd probably have about 100 banged up.
Out of the 93 people arrested, nearly half were from a firm made up of a new generation of Portsmouth football hooligans. We meet them in part 2.
The thing is with football, because there's so many of you, you ain't got to be hard, you just got to be Arsenal to go in.
And we're with the 657 crew as Portsmouth play Southampton for the first time since the riots. Portsmouth's dockyards gave rise to tough working-class men who had a love of football and a unique pride in their city. Their bitter rivalry with Southampton started on the dockyards in the 1930s and soon transferred onto the football terraces. There have been outbreaks of violence at every game since. But in March 2004, the rivalry escalated into a full-blown riot on the streets of Portsmouth. The rioting was blamed on Portsmouth's hooligan following, but most of those arrested were under 25, highlighting a new wave of young hooligan that follows the club.
Up and down the country, every club that used to have an active firm or still considered has got an active firm has got a youth element. Yeah, there's some jokingly say youth academy.
Portsmouth's young firm is made up of lads aged between 16 and 20. Most of them are sons of the original 657 crew.
Quite funny really, because a lot of the dads grew up together and living in the same area now, all the sons sort of the same age group, they're growing up together.
This group of young hooligans became notorious in Portsmouth after 40 of them were arrested for their involvement in the riots and were named and shamed on the front of the local newspapers.
Who's on it? It's what? Him, I don't know, it's my face. But yeah, he got his nose, you know what I mean? That's it. Obviously everyone wants to beat up the scummers and that, so everyone just waits around. And when they do, like, the police get control of the situation or whatever, they like steam into the hustle on that. And they just went back and forth, back and forth. It just got to the extent where everyone standing still, throwing stuff at the police and that. The thing is with football, because there's so many of you, you ain't got to be hard, you just got to be Arsenal to go in. That's all you got to do. That's it. As long as you're game, that's it. You don't have to be the hardest person. As long as you know that when you're running in, you've got your mates behind you running in with you, it don't matter.
These young fans are continuing in the tradition of the hard-hitting Portsmouth hooligans who live and breathe the club.
There was an incident not so long ago with Southampton. It involved 60 to 70 Pompey lads. Yeah. All under 18. They went on the common and a big battle with Southampton's hooligan following, which consisted of hardcore blokes, and Portsmouth come out on top. So after that, all the adults had recognised that there's a new firm on the horizon.
In an effort to stop these youngsters turning into another 657 crew, the courts came down hard on them following the riots and handed out jail sentences.
They nicked me at the Tolton game. They just took me to the side and said, look, we've got you on camera throwing bricks and that. I said, yeah, fair enough. Then I decided to go to the police station and I admitted to it and then got a 12-month sentence for it. They come round one morning about 6 o'clock, innit? Come round, they got me out of bed, took me out of the police station. I've got 10 months. People ask what you in for, and they say, oh, football violence. They're like, you think you're mad in that? Because most of the people run there for like, street robberies and that.
Even though they are now out of prison, all of the lads are still on tag, which puts them on a strict curfew and prevents them from going out in the evening.
How many of you got tags on? And when do they come off?
Next Saturday, 9 o'clock. Got your daughters up, so I'll come on.
The boys were also given banning orders, preventing them from going to any football matches home and abroad. This means they have to watch the first Portsmouth-Southampton game since the March riots on television. So it's left up to the older generation to maintain Portsmouth's tough reputation at the game.
There is a bit of a special atmosphere when we play out there. And obviously everyone, because we're the better side this season, everyone's expecting us to go out there and wallop them. So hopefully we get a result on the pitch as well this season.
The police have classified the game as Category C, the highest warning they can give for potential football violence. The total cost of the police operation will be around £500,000, accounting for the 450 officers, dog handlers and horse units who are all on duty to ensure that there is no repeat of the riots. Eddie Crispin and the rest of the 657 crew allow us to follow them to the game. As usual, they meet at Fratton Station and they can't wait to get to Southampton. When a game is given a Category C rating, the police can exercise a Section 60, a new law that allows them to stop and search potential troublemakers before they get to the game.
They abuse it at football matches, really. We went to Cardiff the other night. We had a coach load. The police inspector got on, he said, we're Section 60 and everyone on this coach. So we had to get off the coach. As we got off, they were filming. Had to give your name, date of birth and address. A couple of my mates said Dad came to football. And he got off the coach and he had to speak into the camera and gave his date of birth as 1928. So we got the youngest football hooligan in the country and the oldest now.
Once the Portsmouth fans arrive at Southampton Central, they are in their rivals' territory. To try to prevent trouble, they are escorted to the ground by the police.
I would imagine we'll get this all the way to the ground now. See whether they make a show or not.
The 657 crew managed to walk to the ground without encountering any Southampton fans.
You can see we walked through unopposed through their city. There have been a couple of chances where they could have come in, but they haven't even shown out. But this would never happen in Pompey. It's unbelievable, really. They've got nothing, Southampton, at all.
But when they get to the ground, one Southampton fan is feeling brave.
Happened too many times.
Unlike the 70s and 80s, where most of the trouble happened inside the ground, nowadays, once the fans are in the new all-seater stadiums, there is rarely any trouble. Portsmouth lose the game 2-1 in the final few minutes, ensuring a highly charged walk through Southampton town centre back to the station.
What's going on?
As the Portsmouth fans cross the high street, there's a potential flashpoint as a group of Southampton supporters have congregated outside a pub. The heavy police presence ensures there are no outbreaks of serious violence, and the Portsmouth fans are escorted to the station and out of Southampton. Once back in Portsmouth, there's nothing else for them to do other than drown their sorrows.
Everyone's got over the defeat now, I think, but still a bit gutted. But everyone's had a good drink now and just going to get on with things.
The night may be over for the 657 crew, but for the new generation of Portsmouth fans who couldn't go to the game, the night has just begun. So far, the mood of the fans is good-natured, but the paramedics based at Portsmouth ambulance station are well aware of the trouble that losing to Southampton can cause.
It does get tense when Pompey and Southampton are playing. There's a lot of shouting and a lot of aggression. You can feel it's really highly charged. Yeah, they're quite good at the matches, but it's outside. Depending on how the result's gone, it does have an influence. Depends on whether they're happy drunk or aggressive drunk. So.
We ain't scummers! Fucking scummers!
Only 20 minutes into their 8-hour shift, and the paramedics get their first call out to a pub fight.
What are we going to?
A male who's been punched in the face. He's conscious and breathing. The police are en route. 1, 2, 3, up on your feet.
Portsmouth is living up to its tough reputation. It's only 10 o'clock and calls to fights outside pubs are coming in regularly.
Quite all right with being beaten up, are you? He's got a head injury. I think he's been assaulted. We've got a male with a stab wound. We have been told to proceed with caution. When you get like the men that are real sort of got a lot of bravado, they suddenly become real, can take on the world. Don't worry mate, I'll get him back, and they're going to take on the whole of Portsmouth to avenge their friend who's just been beaten up.
I've got beat up by 2 geezers. They've done my nose, everything.
Was that the black geezer?
The black geezer, he's beat the shit out of me, the black geezer.
I'll have him. I don't give a shit about the police. I'll have him. I'm supposed to be modelling next year. I'll kill him.
By the end of the shift, there have been 15 call-outs to pub fights, 2 broken noses and 1 stab wound. This level of violence has become all too common for the paramedics.
I'd endeavour not to be at work when Southampton were playing down here. It's horrible. I'm not saying all that would stem from alcohol, to be honest. That's just pure rivalry. It's not nice.
I ain't fucking scum, you.
The days of terrace battles with rival firms are long gone, thanks to increased security and the use of video cameras. And the courts have made it difficult for the new generation of Portsmouth hooligans to take over the 657's mantle. But with their ingrained propensity for violence, their bitter rivalry with Southampton, and pride in their city as strong as ever, Portsmouth will continue to be one of Britain's toughest towns.
You are not dealing with a bunch of football hooligans that simply go for a fight. It's part of the way they express the support, not just for the club, but for the city itself.
In its day, Pompey were there to be counted, but saying that, if anyone come down there and take liberties, I don't think they'll have much chance, to be honest.